Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is the Breaking Free Show. And I hope you're all doing terrific wherever you are. I'm happy because the weather has gotten so much better here. The humidity has gone down, and I can sleep much better. And I'm much happier camper when I ain't sweating. So I hope you're all doing great. We have a special guest today. I know I say that every week. But let me say hi to Amnon before we get started. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You look marvelous.
Do I?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because my mommy is here.
Oh.
I always look good when my mommy is in town. So listen, everybody, we're ready for my mother's annual guest appearance on our show. She comes every single. I think every year we've done it, right?
So far.
The first
Oh, yeah.
show she was here. The second show, the third, the fourth. What is this? The sixth year I'm going into.
I don't know. You
don't
better
know.
keep up
I
with
think
that.
the sixth year. So let me introduce to you my mommy, Gloria Lipman. Hi, Ma.
Hi, and I'm making a date with you for next year.
Good. Every
same
year.
station, same place, same people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So my mother comes every year and we talk about stuff. Today she said, "What are we talking about?" I said, "I don't know." She said, "Okay, I trust you." So she's a pro at this, right? So anyway, listen, any point in time during the show, please feel free to call in at 919-518-9773 if you want to talk to my mother, Gloria, or you want to talk to me, or you can come in on Skype. That's computers, that's plural, the number 2K voice, and you'll come in on Skype voice, or you can join us in our chat and just, put your name there and you can, let's see, and you can ask questions, you can comment, you can do whatever you like. And, we just like to have some fun when my mom comes, and because she is quite extraordinary and has lived, I think, a pretty full life. She's not over by no stretch of the imagination, but she has tremendous insight, and, you know, that says a lot. So, how's it going?
Great.
What's going
Right.
on these days?
What's going on these days? You know, as long as it's no change, I'm happy.
No
That's the way.
change.
No change.
Just let it say.
I just want to go on the way it is, and I don't have to have changes because I'm very content and pleased and blessed more than anything. And I really can't ask for anything more, except I wish my children to the same pleasures and life and happiness and everything that God has to give them.
It's interesting because one of the things we were going to say in promoting this show is about change and how living big and expecting change and all that stuff. And the first thing my mother says is she wants it to stay the way it is, and she's okay with no change, which is different than one thing you can guarantee in life is that things are going to change. Things happen every single day, but it's great to hear another perspective. So, do you want to tell everybody how old you are?
No.
Do you mind if I tell everybody how old you are?
Yes. If it's a necessity.
You want to? Okay, everybody.
Yes.
Guess. You got to go into the chat and you got to write what age you think my mother is. And if you weren't here last year or the year before, the year before, the
You
year
have
before
a
that,
problem.
yeah, you might not know. But go into the chat, sign in, and you can tell us how old you think she is because she can stump. You know the game you play at some amusement parks where stump my age or stump my weight or stump this, stump that. Well, she could definitely stump anybody in knowing how old she is. So it's really fun. Oh, here's a question on the chat. Hold on. So, what does Gloria think of this quote? The art of life is a constant readjustment to our surroundings. Let me read it again. The art of life is a constant readjustment to our surroundings.
It is, but if you accept it graciously and go on, then it becomes a pleasure and not a chore.
So you're saying that adjusting to your the constant the constant thing about life changing or readjusting your surroundings, if you accept it and you don't fight it, then then it's good. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay, good one. Marilyn, too, I'd like to know your answer. Okay, so the art of life is constantly, yeah, because first of all, we can't control anything that happens. We can't control. I often say when I'm getting ready to speak in a room, I have to be ready for however that room is going to look in wherever I'm going to speak. Sometimes somebody will say, "Well, how do you want the room set up?" And I just generally say, "I don't care." Because if I care and I go in and the room is the opposite of what I had thought it was going to be, then I'm not prepared. So I'm prepared for anything. I'd rather be prepared for anything than sometimes being prepared for something specific and not knowing how I'm going to react or respond when it doesn't appear that way. So I don't care. However it is, I'm going to walk in and do my thing. And I think that's a very good thing to be aware of in life in general, because you can't. You go out to your car, it doesn't work, or it does. You go out, you think it's not going to rain, it's raining. I mean, you can't. You just have to accept and just go along, right?
Right.
What of anything has changed lately? Anything for you that you just have to kind of roll with it and
Adjust to?
adjust to it and not even consider it a change? Because I think sometimes if you consider it a change, then you have to readjust yourself and change. But if you accept things just the way they are, you just go along with it.
Well, it's easier that way.
Right.
And there are changes, that's life, on a daily basis.
Right.
And if you stop and analyze it and accept it, because what can you do about it?
Right.
Can't control the world or anything.
So how do you stay positive with as many things shifting as they shift in your life?
You have to join the crowd.
What does that mean?
Accept it. Maybe on your terms, but in general, you really have no choice. You can't control the world. And those changes are going to come about no matter what. So if you can't beat them, you join them graciously.
Right. What's the most, besides your children, what do you enjoy the most in life now?
Everything.
Like what? Be specific.
I love, first of all, number one, my children.
Okay, but I said besides
my
your children.
grandchildren and
Besides that, we know that. What else?
driving, going, doing, friends, keeping alive on a daily basis. Interested in doing things. I just want to stay young as I can.
Driving. Why is driving like the most important thing in the list?
And I always had a motto. When I would have a glass of wine, my wish was, may I live as long as I want and want as long as I live. And that's my motto. I want to do, I want to have, I want to go. I want to just enjoy every minute of every day that I can in a positive way.
So what is it about driving? Why is that so important?
Well, living where I live, it's a necessity because you can't get around. There's no public transit. And I probably wouldn't take public transportation at this stage in my life. So I drive. I love it. I have confidence. I feel secure when I drive. And I can always go where I want to go. I don't have to depend on anyone. And to me, it's a necessity. It is.
Okay, so we're going to share how old you are. Okay, she's 92. knock on wood, my mother is 92,
I don't tell everybody.
and she is a twin, which some of you have heard me mention before. And my aunt lives in New Jersey and is very, very, very similar to my mother. And I mean, they're identical. So I'm sure there would, if I had them both side by side, you would go, which one is Marilyn's mother? But you know, they both are identical, and they both still drive, and they both, I mean, they cook, they drive, they do whatever. If I said to my mother, if she forgets something and it's in my house, it's upstairs, and I said, well, I'll go get it for you. She said, no, I'll go get it. Like I have to make her let me do things like that. I'll go do it. Mom, do you want me to run into the store? No, I'll go do it. Mom, do you want me to take your No, I'll go do it. That, I mean, and sometimes I say, Ma, could you go get me this?
And I go.
Ma, can you go do this? Ma, can you go do that? I mean, I guess, it's fun. I don't know any other way, but, I do young at heart. I mean, just young at heart. And in keeping the adventure going. And, it's easy to fall into different kinds of modes, traps, holes, depression. But with everything, I think that, for myself and what I've observed is to, keep the element of hope alive and spontaneity and all of those things. What else? Like, I have to, like, if, you sit at the kitchen table with my mother, you have to say to her, could you please get off of Facebook? Like right now, she's telling me about Princess, what's her name? What's her name in England? Princess who? What's her name? Amnon. Princess.
No,
No.
Kate.
Kate. So we're sitting here now.
William's wife.
Yeah, we're sitting here now, and my mother starts to tell me she's going into business with Dr. Oz.
Yeah.
I have no idea she's doing that. My mother knows because she's a Facebook stalker, right?
Well, there was an article on it. And it was very startling in England, of course. It's a no-no. And it's caused a lot of disruption there.
And so
with
what
the
do
Queen.
you think about her wanting to do that?
I think it's wonderful. Why should anybody stop? You want to go, you go.
Right.
I don't see how detrimental it is to anybody there.
And why it's a negative thing for her to do
I
it.
don't understand why.
I don't either. Why should
For
anybody
me,
stop?
I just do it.
Right. And there's a question, and let me get to this question, then I want to say something. Chris is asking, so when and how do you decide to try to overcome something or a circumstance in your life instead of just going along with it? Oh, that's a good question from my mother. When do you decide to try to overcome something or a circumstance in your life instead of just going along with it?
When?
Yeah.
Out of necessity sometimes. I analyze it. I think about it.
Do you go along with most things, or do
No, I
you?
don't
No,
know.
she goes along with not much.
I
She
go along
questions
with-
everything.
Yeah.
Yes, she
well,
does. Everything.
If I think it's right, in my opinion, and I enjoy it. and
Well, it's
a-
not even about enjoyment. If it's something that it doesn't matter.
I
If
think
you
it's
don't know
right.
about it, you haven't had experience with it, or
I'll
have
take
had
a
experience,
chance.
she's
Take a
going to question.
chance.
Yeah, but you're going to question everything.
No,
You
I
don't.
question
You don't
it.
just take things like
For
on
granted. No.
face value or just because somebody told her. She is not doing that. She is going to like question you. She's going to figure it out on her own. If you tell her one thing, she's still going to make that phone call.
Right, that's true.
Right?
You know me better than I know myself.
She's going to make that phone call. She's going to call that pharmacist. She's going to call that doctor. She's going to call that person. She's going to call that store. She is going to call the manufacturer. If she wants to bake something and that product that she used to use is not in the store anymore, she is not going to just say, oh, well, let me find its replacement. No. She is going to find the company that manufactured it somehow, and she is going to call them and find out if they have the product or that flavor. And need I tell you the rest? She's going to get it. What do you
Well,
think, Ma?
I can deal with what I know better than what I don't know.
What do you mean?
So, well, when I know about something, I can deal with it better than not knowing anything about it.
Right?
The unknown is difficult.
So, and my mother is creative. So, creative people tend to see options naturally. It's just her way. Growing up, I didn't understand that so much. But more and more as an adult, I do understand that she's going to see options. She's not a black and white person. She's going to see possibilities, alternatives, whatever. And she has to figure out sometimes which one of those possibilities or alternatives is her best one. It may not be my best one. And sometimes there's a conflict over that because I'm like, oh, come on, Mom. It's okay. Just go with it. Nope. She's going to find the one that's right for her. Is that right?
To a point.
Okay. And what do you mean?
Well, I don't just accept it because it's right for somebody else. If
Right.
it's not right for me, I will question it.
Right.
And I won't be happy accepting it
Right.
without knowing that I'm comfortable with
Right.
my decision.
Right. Okay, everybody. 919-518-9773. Call in, or you can come in on Skype and ask questions, just say hello, whatever. You can come in at computers, the number 2K voice, and then we have our chat, and you can come in there and ask questions, comment, whatever you would like. So, what do you think about technology?
I think it's the greatest.
Tell
I may
everybody.
I may not be able to learn about it all and be able to use it, but I think it's marvelous. I love Facebook. Some things are carried to extreme, but that happens with everything. But overall, I think it's all for the better.
What do you like about Facebook?
It has brought my immediate family, when I say immediate, it's family, period, closer together. There are people that I have not seen for many, many years because of distance. And somehow I feel like we're together again. We're family. And I still consider them family. And when I write to them, I write, Aunt Gloria with love. I haven't seen them in 40 years. But there's a feeling of closeness that you never lose if you care to retain it. And I think it's a priceless discovery. And I'm happy I'm part of it.
You text? What about
Text.
texting?
Yes.
What do you like about texting?
Speaking my mind. No, I like texting because it brings about conversation and discussions and voicing your opinion.
Who taught you?
She's-
Who was your role model?
My mother,
And what was she like?
in every way. She was very modern thinking, always ready to learn something new and accept it. She had an open mind. And I attribute who I am, what I am, and hopefully what I'll always be to my mother. And my father as well. He had great input because the things that I learned wouldn't have been available to me if it weren't for him as well. But as parents and two brothers, I'm going to cry.
It's okay. I got
And I
tissues.
don't want to cry.
Why? It's natural. Here.
But I'm fortunate to have had the memories and the growing up, the environment, and everything that went with it. My family. And I wish it to all the people I know and who I don't know. It's the best way to live.
So, what's bringing you emotion now? When you think about them,
That they're gone, I would love to share every minute of every day with them. And emotion is out of joy and pleasure. You don't want to give up things that you enjoy and are happy with. And I would like to have spent the rest of my life with these wonderful people who added so much to my life and to me and to the world, because they were gracious people. Whatever they didn't know, they made sure to seek out and learn with an open mind and an open pocketbook,
What do you
which
mean?
sometimes was
Yeah,
necessary.
yeah. So,
Well, we all went to college, and they were not young people. They were American born, but all four of us went to college, and they were always there for us.
so how did they parent? How did grandma parent that was so outstanding? What did she do? Was it in the way she spoke to you? How did she, what was her, um, when you look back, like what was the things that she did that stand out that you wanted to emulate as a parent?
I wanted to emulate her in every way. She took piano lessons. We took piano lessons. She sat right next to us at the piano practicing. I mean, it was everything. She was there. If there was something new in a toy, in a face product, she searched it out. She took me. She went with me. She just had a very, very creative, open mind, bright, and was always looking to better everybody and everything. She was amazing.
She was. She was quite a modern woman back in those days. She's
And it was a long
gone
time.
like how? Let's see, 40 years.
Well, Jamie was just born. I
Oh yeah,
think
right.
she-
So 35 years. Well, it's close to 40. So, Mom, you've done some traveling in your life. Where have you gone that you've really enjoyed? Is there any place you've gone that was just outstanding?
Italy.
Why?
I loved Italy.
Why?
It was exciting. It was, the people are wonderful. The food is sensational. I loved Italy. I loved every place I went. I loved Greece. It was fun. I loved it all, really. I loved traveling.
Do you miss it?
Miss it only because it made life interesting, but I don't think I miss it to the extent where I'd want to go traveling like that tomorrow. I think it would be just a bit much for me. But I am grateful and appreciative of the fact that I did do it and I did travel and I saw so much and I have the beautiful memories now. And that suffices who I am today.
And so, what do you think about the world today? Are you
You
ready,
really wanna
everybody?
know?
Yeah, I really want to know. Well, I already kind of have an idea, but I think it's important because you do have an opinion. I may agree, I may disagree, but
In a lot of ways, I like my world better. Ask me why. It's a big answer, a lot of thinking. But it was more peaceful amongst people. At least for me, it was. And we didn't have the same problems. If I wanted to go to Manhattan on the subway, I just got on the train and went. Whatever hour of the night it was, I'd come home. I wasn't afraid to walk through the streets at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, who would allow their children to do that today? There's so many connotations with that that you can't even enjoy thinking about allowing children to do that now. And I feel like it deprives them of a lot of fun and pleasure that I, growing up, was free to enjoy. And that part of it bothers me.
You know, I remember when my cousin and I took a subway into Manhattan and we went shopping. We ate at Rockefeller Center. I remember, I don't think we were but 12 years old.
Yeah, we never
12
hesitated.
years old. That was it. To take a subway or the Long Island Railroad into Manhattan, find the Rockefeller Center, order food. I mean,
And charge it.
and charge it. I remember coming back, and I think lunch was like $7. And I can remember my aunt was like, because I was with my cousin, and she was 10 months younger than I was, and I can remember my aunt like, "Oh my God, you spent $7 on lunch?" Because back in like 50 years ago, $7 would probably be $50 today or more. I mean, it was amazing, and but I never thought about it. I can remember coming home on the train with her, and we had gone there. We had gone for present shopping, and Christmas, Hanukkah shopping, and coming home with all these presents on the train. And we were young, we were like 12. I mean, we were not that old, and yet there was no problem doing it. So what happened? Do you think? Where did it go wrong? And how? Yeah.
I don't know that it's all wrong.
Okay, so how can it go
It's
right?
just a mess.
Okay, so how do you think? How can it go right? What do you think has to happen for things to go right?
I don't really know, Meryl.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't think there's an answer.
I'm none. You got an answer?
Progress.
Progress. In what way?
I mean,
That's what
it's
it
a
is.
negative
It's
way, but it's progress. I mean, it's I mean,
What do you What do you mean?
it's not safe.
Right.
Why should it be safe if you can't? If somebody's coming towards you and you can't shoot them, if somebody's coming towards you with a knife and you can't slap them because you're going to get sued. If a teacher cannot discipline,
So you're saying
I
that we
mean,
should
it's
be able
all
to do
it's
that.
it. I think it built throughout the years. I mean, we're getting more and more lenient with the growing.
Yeah, but why would we have to
Is it
be
lenient
not
or
lenient?
fair? It's fair.
It's no, but it's lenient to begin with. They said, "Oh, don't hit the kid. Oh,
But
don't
why did
don't
we even?
don't
How did we get
discipline
before
them."
that? How did we get to have to do it though? I mean, if
I
we,
mean, when I grew up, we could. I mean, in Jerusalem, in Israel, I mean, I used to go all over the city until 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning.
Right.
Being 15, 14, 10. But today you wouldn't do it
but why not?
because people
Why did
are
that
different.
change?
People, I think
no
that
one
it's
answer.
because we are not putting enough emphasis on be nice,
We're not putting enough
It's,
emphasis on being nice.
being
Respectful.
right, be respectful.
So who's-
all these things
so, okay,
bring up
so-
a generation
okay.
that is.
Of our mindset.
It doesn't mean anything to them. I mean, to come to you at 11 o'clock at night on the street and yell right in your face, which scares you. They wouldn't think,
So
what did I
people-
do? I just
right.
talked to her.
But how
Well,
did
no.
it go wrong though? How did it happen where
It happens
fear
all over.
started taking over? Where people weren't making enough. I mean, people. There have been. I mean, through
There's so many things
through
that
history, people
contribute.
weren't making money. I mean, how did it? So is it only about money? What's it about?
I don't know that it's about money. I mean, this has something, in my opinion, it has something to do with that kids are growing. They don't have parents at home. So there's not enough money and they're going out in the street. And this is their way of life. It becomes, this is what we know. I mean, it's not like we learn to be mean or bad or whatever. This is what we learned.
It's the outcome of the way you're exposed to.
Yeah.
You go to school. I'm not going to say, what was a teacher? What did a teacher mean to us?
Right. Today,
Respect,
today it's
admiration,
nothing.
police, everybody,
Yeah.
clergy. But today there's no respect.
Right.
People
So how did it get off whack?
say,
Because
What's
I
his
mean-
name? Dr. What?
Dr. Oz?
No,
Dr. Phil?
no, the old guy with the kids, doctor.
With the
But
kids.
bringing kids up and treating kids. What?
Oh, Dr.
Not Dr.
Oh,
Phil.
no. We used to.
Who?
I know.
Oh,
Who are
jeez.
you talking? Search.
No, I mean,
Who?
who was big into how to treat children?
Oh,
and,
Art Linkletter. I'm just
no,
kidding.
before
Oh,
that,
God.
no.
Oh, Dr. Seuss?
Yes.
Not
Message.
no, not Dr. Salk. There was another.
What was
Oh my God, do a search. Who are you talking about?
Oh, man.
Dr. Spock.
Spock.
Dr. Spock?
Yes.
Maybe.
Chris says Dr.
Yes.
Spock.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, what about him?
I mean, it started when you put more emphasis on don't discipline your kid the way that you are used to be disciplined. It's mean. I don't think it was mean when my dad slapped me on the behind. I mean, it made me a better person probably. But no, you're not supposed to do that. So all
When-
these
when-
things,
how did
so
we
you
get
can't
to that point?
look. If you have a kid at home and they misbehaving,
Right.
are you going to take 3 hours to sit and explain why? And when it's, or you're going to slap them on the end, they got your attention and said, don't do that again.
Well, but so
So it's-
when did
it's-
it start? Well, how did it? So
I
take it
wasn't
behind-
there.
I mean, did you smack your kid, your daughter?
Yes. I mean, there's smacking and there's smacking.
Yeah, there's abuse.
Well,
and
that's
there's
okay. So
smacking.
let's talk about that.
Yeah, I
Because-
mean,
okay.
if you hit a kid and you knock them
But why
across
do
the
we-
room, that's ridiculous. You want to get their attention. I mean, when a teacher would take a ruler and hit you on the hand, what happens? What would happen from
I
it?
don't know. Where are those kids? Who are those kids today that were hit
Oh,
like
those-
that?
I'm one of them.
So okay, so those kids.
I mean, I'm one of them
They're for
that
the
got
better.
slapped. I mean, smacked, got taken by the ear to the
So
principal.
are those
you
some
know.
of those kids, or are those kids that got hit on the wrist, that got spanked? Are those the kids that are now that are
Rebelling?
that started to parent and didn't want anybody spanked because of all the times they were
I
spanked?
don't-
It depends the
Yeah.
extent.
There's
of
no.
I
You
think-
can't generalize.
Well, I
Yeah, you
think that's what
can't
happens. I think you
There's
get
It's a
abuse,
generation thing.
There's
It's not.
abuse,
Yeah.
and there's teaching a child by by force,
Yeah.
but not to abuse them. You
Okay.
say to a child, "You're going to sit in that corner for an hour
Yeah.
and don't come out of there." Today, that's abuse.
Yeah. You can't do that.
Can't do anything like that. They'll go and call the policeman.
the kids are calling on the parents.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
this is
So-
ridiculous. So parents cannot.
So you have no control.
They have
from
no
the day
control.
they're
So those
born.
kids are growing up saying, "Oh, so I can do all that stuff, and nobody told me not to. So I'm going to do it to
But
other people."
started somewhere. It
Well, of
started
course.
because of someone, somewhere, something where, where, for what reason? Is it economy? Where or how did it start? That it's that the
I don't think
Don't know.
messages started going wrong or opposite, or how
I
did it
don't know that
happen?
it's wrong, but it was one-sided. It was complete 180 without any regard to what are we leaving behind. What are
Why do you have
what's
to
going to come
learn?
out
Why
of it?
does a kid have to learn just because somebody smacked them on the wrist?
It's not that they learn because somebody smacked them.
That you get their attention.
You get their attention.
Well, isn't there
and-
another
and-
way to get somebody's attention?
Well, obviously not.
Well, but maybe we've gone from one end to the other. Why do we? I mean,
That's-
there are plenty of kids who are doing just fine who are not smacked on the wrist.
And I'll bet you that in the privacy of their home, they probably do. Now, no, you
Would
can't
you privately
generalize.
do
You
what?
can't generalize.
Get
Get
smacked?
smacked. Yeah, I can't generalize. No, I'm sure there are some, but that's when the parents can actually sit there for hours and
I
talk
don't
to
know
them.
if it takes
You know
hours.
what?
It
And
takes
they're-
consistency.
Nobody ever hit me.
Yeah,
in my
I
whole
don't
life.
think that's
Not my
necessary.
mother
It's
or my,
it's
depends
it
upon the
depends
child.
I
where
think
it
it's
depends. Yeah.
consistency,
I-
though.
I was, since I was a kid, I was out. I was at the Y. I was at Boy Scouts. All that. You are more less with your parents than you are with other people,
Today or in general?
even back then.
Okay, well,
And
okay.
but a lot of people back then also had a stay-home mom.
Right.
I
Can't
mean,
stay
kids
home.
that are today.
Whose fault is that you can't stay home? I think that there are people taking a lot of money so people can't stay home.
Well,
There's a lot of big businesses or insurance. You can't stay home.
you are taking it and you are watering it down.
Okay. Who
You
is,
are
me?
trying to blame it on
I'm not- I
anybody,
don't know what to-
everybody.
I don't know what to
No,
blame
you
it
are.
on.
You're blaming
I'm
it on the
asking,
businesses,
where
on
did
the
it come
insurance.
from?
Who knows? I mean, it's a
No, you can't
combination.
Okay.
put your
You
finger
can't
on
take
it.
it. I mean, you can't take it and blame it on others. You have first look in the mirror.
No, okay.
And
I
that's
don't
it.
think people are entitled to excuses for certain things. I
Absolutely
agree with you.
not.
I agree with you. I
People
agree with
are
you.
not
But
in-
But if you can't stay home
Yeah.
because insurance is 1,500, 16, whatever it is
Yeah.
a month, and where you used to.
Thank you, Obama.
And it used to
Yeah.
be this, and it used to be that, and it used to be this, and it used to be that.
Yeah.
I mean,
So all these things, along with others,
contributing.
it's this and this and this and this, and we will get to the point of that straw that broke the camel's back. At that point,
Well,
it's
we
going to
might
be
be
really
there.
bad. No, I don't think so. I think
but I do. When you see, what's going on around and how children are being cared for or not.
Mhm.
I mean, some of this has gone through the ages. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there has been abuse. There has been this stuff through
now
the ages.
now think about it this way. You want to, I mean, what city do you think of that has the most violence?
Well, I think it's New Jersey.
New
'Cause
Jersey.
We've been there before,
Now,
done that.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
How many criminals, young criminals, are out in the street that are scaring people so people don't go out? How many?
Oh, I
What
don't
would you
think-
say? Take
I
a
have
city.
no
How
idea.
many?
How many in New Jersey?
In a city.
Oh.
What would you say?
That
1,000?
100, 10?
100?
Yeah.
How many kids and people are actually at home at that time? So it's a
Yeah.
small percentage.
Right, it's a small percentage.
But that percentage is always there because there's always some people that feel like they deserve more and they don't want to work for it. They were taken advantage of when they were younger, so now they're going to take advantage. All kind of twisted things that people are
You know,
figuring.
I listened to Chris sent it was a very good TED talk actually.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, we should post it. It was about emotional health and emotional hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
It was very interesting. It was a psychologist. We listened to it yesterday.
Yeah.
It was very, very
There's a
interesting.
connection.
We do not take care of our
Sure.
emotional health as we do other things. And it is very important that we make sure that we understand our emotions. Because a lot of how we are responding, how we see things, through our eyes. When people say certain things, well, you're looking out of your eyes. I see the world one way because I'm looking at from here out, right? And I feel a certain way. I see things a certain way because of how I am processing. We have to take a look at how we're handling ourselves emotionally.
Well,
Whether
sure.
and on an individual basis, whether it's anger, whatever it is, our fears and how they're
But
controlling
we can't.
us.
But
No,
we
but
can't
people
put 100% of our attention to that.
No.
We shouldn't because
What do you
then
mean
we
100%?
ignore the rest.
Well, it's got to be a balance, but
Yeah.
we're not balanced.
It's exactly
So
the
we
problem.
have to now
That's the
put more
problem.
emphasis on how we are experiencing, handling things, how we feel about things, our fear level emotionally.
That will help, in my opinion, but it will not solve the problem. This is like a dam that's already cracked. If it had a few holes, we could have looked and say, okay, how can we plug them? And everything will be fine. But at that point, it's pouring out. So everybody should do it. Don't misunderstand. I'm not saying they shouldn't, because their life will be better probably. But you can't say that if you and other people will sit down and say, okay, how do I deal with my emotional stuff? You still won't be able to go in the street because
And
the
you'll-
street that are out there.
And you'll
Well-
find that all these people will blame somebody else
Exactly.
for who they are
Mm-hmm.
and what they are and how they're thinking.
But
Right.
if we start,
Absolutely.
if
Don't
we
assume the responsibility.
Well, but if
on
we
their
start,
Right.
if we really work on ourselves and how we are feeling, and we're really listening, and
own. Well,
we,
that's easier
I
said
mean,
than done. though.
well, everything is. I
Yeah.
mean, then anything, any big hole, like Amnon said, these big holes. I mean, a lot of people have big holes inside of them.
Sure.
But that you can never fill up. You just have to go forward. But if we worked on ourselves, not if, but as we work on ourselves, as we listen, as we have people speaking out about, the right things. I when I heard Brene Brown a couple of weeks ago speak on Facebook Live about,
Speak on what?
she was on Facebook Live
Oh.
speaking after what happened in Charlottesville,
Mhm.
Yeah,
and
I
she
heard.
gave some wonderful information
Yeah.
about empathy and about shame and blame and consequences
Mhm.
and things like that. I mean, we should be able to speak. We don't have to kill each other to do it.
Right.
I mean, my goodness gracious, we should find our ways to be able to
So where do you
speak
start?
in a good way, be heard. It's just like when I'll say to parents, when I'm working with parents and families, stay the course of parenting. You can love your children. Children can love you, but still be a parent.
Yeah.
You can
That's the
say
problem.
no.
Yeah.
You can say yes.
No, you can't say
you
no.
can do this. You can do
Can
it.
say no. Oh no.
You can do it out of love, but do it. I
Right.
mean, for Pete's sake.
Right. That you see.
I think that's really
that's
important.
that's because that's the way the lady sitting next to you treated you.
Which way?
As you can say no with love, and you can be a parent and all that
well,
stuff. But all these things that are happening today, it doesn't work like
Well,
that.
it's
It's
interesting
abuse.
too because
Today it's abuse.
it's
Yeah.
because but it the things went on in our house that were not always cheery either.
Well, that's
and
fine.
they could have been bad, but the thing is, we did have there was never a thought that we weren't loved, even when things got
Right.
crazy. There was you always knew that you were
It
loved.
was done out of love.
You always knew that, but that's not an excuse for abuse.
It's not
It-
an
it's-
excuse,
again-
but it's the foundation.
But we always
of
knew
the
we were loved,
reaction
and you
to it.
really
You-
were
but-
some of the balance.
But you see, you jumped right into abuse.
well,
You
well, it
took
was.
that and you jumped
Well,
right
it
into it. You
was.
see, so you consider
Yeah.
everything that's not lovey-dovey
no,
abuse.
No, I don't.
Well,
No,
that's
I
what it
don't.
sounded like.
No,
Okay.
no. But I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
No. I think parents should give consequences. That's not abuse.
What happened to
If you-
tough love?
Tough love too.
Yeah.
I'm all for tough love.
Yeah. No,
I don't
but you
think it's
can't do.
abuse.
But
What do you mean you
but
can't do it?
The system thinks that it's
What
abuse
are you
because
talking
if
about?
you're going
if you
to
have a kid
Yeah.
who is, I mean, first of all, consequences have to fit the crime.
Mhm.
Some parents go overboard.
Yes.
And then there's no,
Right.
the happy medium.
I mean, it's like all black and white, all or nothing. I don't agree with that.
That's no,
I
absolutely
think
not.
there's stages. You don't take away the television for a year.
Right.
You
It's stupid.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Because you can't do that.
No.
I mean, it's not have any effect. So what? A half hour can be more painful,
Mm-hmm.
or a particular show more hurtful and more impactful than taking it away for a lifetime.
Right.
It has to fit the crime.
It does. And in many cases it doesn't. You're right. But if it does fit the crime, and I don't have any examples in my head now, there are situations like that the kid could go and complain, and the next thing you're going to see is social services at your door.
Well,
And now you're going to have to explain why you did it and why you think that it's right and all that. And the next time it happens, they're going to call again.
is
And now
always-
there's a pattern. Wait.
Okay, go ahead,
And it's
go
not your fault. But the system considers you.
depends on what it is, though. There is consequences for every age up, and if you maintain that consequence, and if you have to, God forbid, add to it, there are consequences for 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds,
Yeah,
12-year-olds, 13-year-olds that are appropriate. That are appropriate.
They're appropriate.
Just like for a crime.
Are
if
they appropriate in their mind?
Yes.
You
Whose
think?
mind?
And
Children?
the kids, yeah.
No consequence will be.
You
But
see?
it will be for,
And that's
listen
what,
to me, social services is so busy,
yeah.
they don't have time
Oh, no,
for
no, no.
just petty
No,
stuff.
well,
They
you
don't.
call it petty.
If you
But,
like, what do you consider
but-
what do you consider a consequence?
I never mind. I don't have any example of
Give me an
consequences,
example
but the
of what
thing
you think a consequence is that social service would be on your back.
is telling a kid you can't go to a game.
They will not be on your back for that.
Wait a second.
Go ahead.
Now the kid calls a kid. Can you think like a kid?
Yeah, I can think of.
My
I am a
parents-
kid.
My parents told me, because I did that, my parents told me I can't do that, and my mom hit me.
They
You
will
prove,
not. I'm not.
think
they
like
won't.
a kid. They
I don't
do.
care about. I'm telling you, social services doesn't have enough people, time, and money to take care of that.
Why do you think that at schools you are not
Only-
even allowed to talk tough to them because they know they will lie, and
Right.
at that point
And they'll
you
record.
have to
But listen,
prove.
I was a teacher.
Yeah.
If a kid came into school,
When were
and,
you a teacher?
15 years ago.
Yeah.
13.
Different today.
But you have to. But I'm
See?
not. It's worse. No, you're wrong. First of all, a kid has to be. In some cases, they have to show that they have some marks. There'll be an investigation,
Mm-hmm.
regardless. You know how long it'll take for that investigation to happen?
No, I don't.
A long
That's
time.
not the point. Here is a parent, and a
I don't
parent
agree
cannot
with
take
you.
that.
I don't
Well,
agree
it's
with
fine.
you.
I
am
don't
telling
want you to agree with me.
A kid can call, but that doesn't make it so that a parent will be in trouble with social services. It has to be something to warrant it.
The parent may not be in trouble with social services that time, but the next time something petty happens and they call again, and the
Then they
next
can
time
invest-
now
they can
the social
investigate.
services, there's something going on here, and guess what?
Right.
If the kid get to the point of calling social services, it's not because they know that they can do it just by watching something. They have people around, their friends, who are telling them, and those friends, so-called, know more than they do, and they say, "Look, this is what you need to say because I did it," and it's a
Vicious
snowball.
So I agree with you to a point, but I don't agree with you.
Okay.
I don't think that that's any reason a parent should not have consequences, legitimate consequences for their children, regardless of the fear that their children are going to make something up. You can't go with that. You
Okay.
have to have consequences for your children as well as showing them love.
Absolutely, you have
And
to.
period.
You
If you're
should.
showing them love and consequences, I don't think that what you're saying
Well,
holds water.
I-
But that's just my opinion,
Well-
and I've worked with a lot of families and with a lot of some really impossible situations. And I would say that if you're dealing with something, you got to have the consequences, and they have to fit the crime.
Yeah.
You know, I
Okay.
mean, I don't think you can play devil's advocate on that one.
No,
You're
okay.
trying,
No,
but it won't work.
no.
But anyway, but I do think parents need consequences. Kids need consequences for their behavior, and it has to fit. And if we go too extreme, we're in trouble. So anyway, here's a question, which is a good one, from Chris, and she says, Gloria, how have your ideas about being a woman changed over the years? How has being a woman...
They have not changed.
They have not changed. Ma, you ready? 1 minute, I'm almost...
I
Ma,
am
you
changed.
ready? She's putting on her makeup, and she's getting
I'm
dressed.
ready.
And the night before, she's deciding what she's going to wear. And she'll find the newest, the most interesting, the best. But besides clothing and makeup, what about just womanhood?
Same thing.
Which is what? What would you tell women out there in the world? What advice would you tell women in the world?
That's a tough question because it's not.
What would you
one
tell me?
thing.
What would you tell me as your daughter, as a woman in the world? What would you tell me in being a woman today? Is there-
Today, I wouldn't know what to tell. I don't know. That's a hard question because that encompasses a vast.
like what? Like what? Why?
What do you
Why
tell-
would I
what do
be
you-
any
what would-
different today
what
than
you
you
do
would
with
have
your
been?
daughters?
I tell them to be who they are, be authentic,
That's all.
speak up. You know, but again, no different than the conversation we had about parenting. You know, speak up, but speak up in kindness. Speak up in love. Speak up with respect. People cannot hear you
But they
when
have
you
to
don't.
be taught respect before they can speak with respect.
Yeah, but okay, and that's true. But here's the
Where
thing.
does it begin, Mary?
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, no.
No, I know. I'm going to say there are lots of people who learn respect and not from their parents. They learn it from
If
a
you
friend,
have an
from the world, from a teacher, whoever you can
exposure,
learn it
yes.
from. I mean, we see every day the woman who wrote Glass Castle. Do you know who she is?
No.
She's a brilliant journalist. I think I don't know if she currently works for MSNBC.
And she
or
probably
she
grew
did.
up in a glass castle.
She
That's
grew
different.
up in a dumpster, basically, with her parents. Awful. It's going to be a movie. It's a fabulous
is that the one
book.
in New York?
Yes, she's in New York. Well, she was.
Yeah.
She is. It's if you haven't read it, it's going to be a movie. It's fabulous. Where'd she get it from? She didn't have role models. They went from dumpster to dumpster, hut to hut, drug, whatever they went through. And there's plenty of kids, plenty of
So where
families
did she
that
get
they-
it from? She never
Something-
said?
Something inside,
Okay,
a
so now-
yearning for something different.
You know what? Oh, you know what I want to say? In my time, when you went through a revolving door, or any door, a young man would hold the door and you would say thank you.
Right.
Today, I've had the experience where the door can slam in your face. They don't even know
They
you're
don't even-
behind
yeah.
them. Aside from which, if you see a child, if you're confronted with a child who holds the door, you're
Oh, boy.
shocked and amazement.
Mm-hmm.
You,
Yeah,
and I
you
have
go
said-
seek out the parents.
I
Where are
have-
those
yes,
parents? I have to
yes.
tell those parents
I
how
have
cute
said
those
to
kids
the
are.
parents,
Yeah.
You
I've done
are
the same
doing
thing.
a good job.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
how unusual.
Chivalry is still alive somewhere.
So it's all of us. So when they say it takes a
But-
village, no, it does take a village. We all have to, regardless of what happened before. We all need to rise to the occasion. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever impact you can have on a stranger, on a niece, on a nephew, on a best friend, on a neighbor, whoever you are. What was. We each of us have to rise to the occasion of being somebody that helps somebody, spreads a little,
Yeah,
love-
that would be
love
ideal.
dust,
Absolutely.
respect us. Whoever you are, right? You speak lovingly, kindly. Just let's all of us take care of each other. That's the idea.
Marilyn,
What?
when my mother would make a suggestion, I would listen. I'd stop and think about it out of respect to her and who she was and her opinion. Who can you tell anything to today?
Yeah.
Can you tell any of the kids?
Well,
today?
some of them. Some
you
of them. But
can,
in
but
general,
they
no
do
different
what they
than
want
you.
to. They
Yeah,
know
but you
more.
do too.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
I know
everybody,
that.
because there's a lot of
But I'm talking about the
information.
younger people.
No, it depends. I wouldn't make a judgment about the younger people who don't take people's advice. I think just like you have an opinion, you have a good mind, you have a good heart, you want to make your choices. People want to make their choices. There's a lot of choice
Okay,
around.
so-
It's okay. You respect whoever it is. You respect the opinion, and you can politely say, "Well, I don't really see it there." It's not what you do; it's how you do it.
Absolutely, no question.
it
No
all
question.
started from asking your mom what changed and why is it. I used to be walking, and
Right.
now you just said you will not pass judgment on those that don't listen, and they don't. It's like you are okay. They're there. I'm not going to pay attention to them.
What? I
You-
didn't say that.
You said something about when
Tell me what
when your
tell
mom.
me.
I don't know.
remember that.
I mean,
I
when your
don't
mom
think I would say that.
when
Go
your
ahead.
mom was saying, "Who can you tell it to today? The kids don't listen." What did you say?
I said you can't generalize all the kids that way.
Right, but what do you do with the kids that don't listen?
I know
It depends on
adult
who's.
women.
I mean, if it was my
No, no,
children,
no. You are now
I'm going to
an
make.
educator.
I am going to.
You are
I'm going to say
analyzing the
something to
situation.
anybody that I have an opportunity to say something with.
Well, you'll be surprised how many times you will not say something because you'll be afraid that you say something and a gun will show up.
You're.
Ah,
I
no,
I don't
don't
agree
tell me
with
no.
you, though.
You
That
are-
is. I don't agree. You said before that it's a small minority.
I understand, and
No,
that's
no,
the
no.
minority that you're saying. I will stand up and tell them what
I will
you
not.
want.
I will
hope you
ask the
won't.
right questions.
But-
I mean, I'm doing a book on millennials after the twin one.
doesn't
and
matter.
Every millennial. What matters then?
It doesn't matter.
what
You
matters?
are looking at the world with your rosy glasses,
Right.
and you are dealing on daily basis with people who are educated, who are good, and all that. I don't see you going to the projects to gather kids and try to teach them something because
I've been there, done
it's-
that. No, you're wrong. I've been there, done that.
Why aren't you there now
I
doing
don't,
this?
'cause I
you
don't-
did.
Because I felt like I could do better in the world this way. But I've been in a school where kids were from bad neighborhoods.
And
been there,
and
the kids responded to me.
okay,
with
so
love and kindness, and they didn't have people at home. I'm
Well,
sorry.
I
When you
see-
respond,
I see-
I don't care who you respond. Everybody, and you've heard me say this, everybody wants to be loved, hugged, and rubbed.
sure.
Every
no
kid
question about
can
it.
respond to kindness, and I mean, you certainly have those kids, just like you have those adults, just like that are really bad. But we can't stop doing good because of those that are just really bad. We can't
No,
stop.
we can't.
We can't be scared out of and not do good. We have to keep doing good, no
Well-
matter what. We just have to be temperate sometimes, do little bits and pieces sometimes, do it in different ways, get out different messages. But we have to keep doing it. Otherwise, we might as well just go under the covers and just accept
So
it the way it
How many of
is.
us continue to do it?
Everybody. And
no,
the more
not,
people
not
that
every,
do
not
it.
everybody can do it. Everybody
Yeah,
should
should
do
be.
Yeah,
it,
I mean,
not
but
can.
everybody
that's
can.
why we talk about things. That's why we do this show. That's why we'd love. That's why if you have ideas for shows, if you I'd love to see millennial do a show like this or younger. I'd love to see kids
when you
speak
say
up.
what are millennials bad people? Why do you say it? You are putting him in a what?
Because a
what
lot
is-
of that's
they're
one,
people. They're people.
No. But there's a lot of judgment about a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's why I am doing the books I'm doing.
I tell
so
you
I
what
can
I want
bring
to see.
focus
I would
out
say
of
I want
voices.
to see a gang get together and put a show and talk why they do what they're doing. But there can be millennials, there can be baby
so
boomers.
we should do a show
you
on
know,
gangs.
It's
All
no,
right.
we can't. No, wait a second. We cannot do a show on gangs.
Why?
Because I don't think you'll get a gang member to come up here.
I'm not. Don't say
Then
never.
do it. Then do it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Because-
I watched a listen to Chris sent it to me, a really great audio about an African American guy who does a show. Chris, you'll remember if you're
Yeah.
listening.
Well,
I can't
he's
remember.
already-
and he was great. But no, he set it up to speak to a Ku Klux Klaner, and it was terrific. And
Yeah,
they became
absolutely.
friends. But you have to start somewhere. You have to start
Well,
opening up in
do
dialogue.
It, do it
Oh, I have
because
no
that's a
problem
big
doing
thing
it.
now.
All right. If you know a gang member, bring them to me. All right?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I
anyway,
mean,
what time is it? Oh, my God. It's 2:00.
it's 2:00.
You
It's
gotta talk
fun
about
when you talk
yes.
about stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yes, well, because it affects us all.
Yes, we have to talk
Tremendously.
about things. And I mean, we're not talking about different things. We're actually talking about the same thing. Anyway, everybody. All right, here's my mother. I'm giving her a kiss from you. And from me.
Forever.
Forever. And who knows what
And
we'll
I'm none. You're the greatest.
This is like what's the show that they used to do the news show, and they say over good night from here, good night from there, or good night
Oh,
David, good night,
Yeah.
or the Waltons when they
The
used to the Waltons, the TV show the Waltons when they used to from all the different rooms, right? All right, everybody, love you, bye.
Bye. Pleasure.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.